What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Odin coming back with another video, and today we got the box office breakdown for the weekend of September 6th to September 8th, 2019. And this weekend was owned by, no surprise, It Chapter 2. I finally saw It Chapter 1 for the first time about a week ago, and it gave me nightmares for a couple days because I don't do well with the scary movies. And everyone was telling me, oh, it's not all that scary. It focuses more on the kids and their relationships and coming of age type thing. And yeah, there's definitely parts of that in the movie, but it's also terrifying too whenever Pennywise the Clown's on screen because man, oh man, can that actor really portray that character very well. And It Chapter 2 is pretty much picking up where It Chapter 1 left off, not just story-wise, but also box office-wise, making $91 million in its opening weekend here domestically and just dominating everything and anything in the box office right now. Angel Has Fallen is still at number 2 with $6 million. But again, this is kind of the story that we've been talking about now for several weeks, that we have a box office that is pretty much anemic, where no movies seem to be really doing all that well. Movies that do well maybe one weekend just totally drop off the map by the second weekend, if they even get on the map at all. And then you have other films like The Lion King, for example, that for some reason are still getting into the top 4, top 5 of the year, or rather of the week, even though they've been out now for a long time. Again, Lion King is out in its 8th week, and you also have Spider-Man, which is, of course, Sony, but it's also in conjunction, of course, with the MCU and connected to those characters and having those characters featured in it. So I consider it pretty much to be an offshoot of Disney at this point, and that one came in the number 13. For this week, which again is not in the top 10, but still good nonetheless. So It Chapter 2 doing pretty well overall. So $91 million here, $94 million in the foreign markets. So this is definitely going to be a film to watch for sure. Based on the overall numbers that it has coming in opening weekend, it seems to have been coming. It seems to have come in underneath what It Chapter 1 did in its opening. Obviously, we don't have any countries right here, but I would imagine that because it deals with demonic clowns, that they likely won't have a release in China, though, of course, I have not been able to find anything to stipulate one thing or the other. But let's actually check and see where it is right now. So as you can see, It Chapter 1 made $327 million in the United States, and for adjusted for inflation, that would make it $328, since it didn't really come out that long ago, that first chapter. $91 million here for worldwide totals, $700 million versus $185 million. And let's actually go to It Chapter 1 and look what its opening weekend was looking like. So for its opening weekend, it made $123 million here in the United States, coming out at 4,000, or really 4,100 theaters. It Chapter 2, on the other hand, again, made $91 million and came out, let's see, around even more theaters. So over 400 more theaters available, and it actually made less money. So that's more showtimes. That means more availability. Obviously, it's a 3-hour film, and so some people are probably going to be turned off by that fact. But the fact that it was available at more screenings, meaning it was going to hopefully be able to make up for the long shows and having less showtimes in any given day, doesn't seem like that is enough, which is interesting because I know a lot of people were very high on the first It Chapter 1, and many people have been very mixed on It Chapter 2, mostly because it goes along with what was going on in the novel. And again, I've never read the novel, but I've read enough about the novel to know that the very end is definitely polarizing for a lot of people because it takes the character in certain directions that many people did not expect it to go, as well as many other things. And so they don't really shy away from that. And if you aren't going to shy away from that, general audiences are going to look at this and say, ooh, I don't know if I can really buy into that being the actual case. I can buy into a demonic clown, but when you start to bring in other things up there, which again, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that's never seen or read the story before, and I'm sure there'll be people spoiling things in the comments, and again, it won't take you long to find a plethora of videos explaining it as such. But it is interesting that, certain things are too far out of the way, or too far out of normalcy to be able to believe. But when it comes to demonic clowns, okay, that's perfectly fine. No problems there. Obviously, you can only suspend your disbelief for so long before it becomes a problem. Angel Has Fallen came in here, number 2, $53 million. So again, a film that I'm sure by the time it's ending on theatrical release and even its Blu-ray release will probably end up making some of its money back. It is now in this Fallen series, which is interesting. So for those that don't know, Olympus Has Fallen was the first, London Has Fallen was the second, Angel Has Fallen has been the third. And based on these trends, it seems to me that Angel Has Fallen has a chance of actually surpassing the second film in the franchise, London Has Fallen, which I guess theoretically would make this a successful franchise, seeing that they've justified making 2-3 films now, and obviously that is something that cannot be totally ignored. Good Boys, the movie that people are still saying, oh, you're such a prude, Odin. Again, you can call me a prude all you want. That's just not what my experience was in middle school, but again, It's mostly just because of the age of the kids on screen and the things they're doing within the first 10 minutes that just shut me off from it completely from that point forward. So this one's coming in $82.4 million. So again, nearly not that great of a box office haul, though with $20 million budget, it's making money at this point, so it doesn't really matter how much it makes in the long run. Lion King getting up there, getting almost to $1.6 billion. If that doesn't depress you, I don't know what else will, and you should probably just stop watching movies. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood making $310 million. And let's see the showdowns right now. That's why I love Box Office Mojo, because they give you these random showdowns. And so compared to other things right now, it's made $134 million here domestically. That's versus Django Unchained, which made $162, which I don't think it's going to match. Django Unchained had a lot of historical things that were pertinent to the United States, again, it also being the Western format. But it is already surpassing Inglourious Basterds before adjusting for inflation, and before adjusting for inflation, of course. So it is interesting to see those back and forth. It is interesting to see those battles. So what are y'all's thoughts about the things that have been coming out? You know, obviously, I still very much am high on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that it's one of the best original films, original concepts we have right now. We don't really get enough of those these days. Lion King, it was total crap. At the end of the day, Good Boys, I couldn't get past the first 3 minutes. London Has Fallen, Olympus Has Fallen, Angel Has Fallen. I've never seen any of them, and I have just no desire to see any of them. So are those types of films that you like to watch? And have you seen It Chapter 2? That's obviously the big movie to talking about this week. Have you seen It Chapter 2? Is it any good? Please let me know in the comments also, because this is a film that I really do want to see and try to. I don't know whether I'm going to see it on the IMAX screen or not, because obviously I know I'm going to get terrified by whatever happens, but yeah, I just, oh, man. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this. And really, honestly, is the 3 hours too long? I'd say most people are probably going to say, yeah, you feel it. It's slow. The pacing kind of is all over the place. And that's, again, the general criticism that we've heard from this film so far. From both audiences and critics alike. And so let me know your thoughts about this film, especially in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please smash that like button. Give us a subscribe. It helps us out a lot. You are all amazing and beautiful people. Oh man, I need to get off this page because it's terrifying me. But let me know your thoughts about this and any other movies that maybe I didn't talk about. And let me know what movies that you do want me to focus on, or possibly what box office-y stuff you want me to focus on in the future for these videos. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.